Hello and welcome to UC Today. I'm Tom Wright and I'm delighted to be joined by Tim and Jamie from Voss. How's it going, guys?
Thanks, Tom. Yeah, all good.
Good, thanks, Tom. Yeah, nice to see you again.
Yeah, it's great to have you. And we're going to be talking about the digital workplace today, and particularly how organisations can create and manage a successful environment. So, to start with, Tim, I wonder if you could give us an overview of the components of the digital workplace.
Thanks, Tom, and hello, everybody. So, a bit of background here. Organisations are investing in what we call the digital workplace. So, it's enabling people to really work from anywhere on any type of device to suit, pushing productivity. And the core of this is collaboration in platforms such as Microsoft Teams, covering chat and meetings, and more recently, the next big step to integrate telephony and voice. But getting this solution to work effectively for the organisation, it's not necessarily plain sailing. There's always existing tools and systems to work with, as an example. So what we're doing in this session today is list what we see as the possible challenges you'll encounter and how you go about tackling those so that they don't become a problem. Tips and tricks. Tom, do you want to throw up the list of challenges and we'll just have a quick look at that?
Yeah, absolutely. So we've got quite a complete list of challenges here. And Tim, could you just, sorry, before we dig into some of them, could you explain where these have come from?
Where they've come from, we've been working with customers, and that's where the list has really originated from. So it's from recent projects where customers are migrating to new cloud-based collaboration solutions like Teams. They're integrating voice and older telephony PBX systems, and they're generally streamlining day-to-day service requests or just analysing and improving performance on their collaboration platform. So across all these areas, what we've done is we've picked out the most common tricky spots, as we call them, that customers have told us that they're looking at and need some help on.
Yeah, so all of these challenges look quite important, and unfortunately, we've only got time to go through the top four. But let's get started. Tim, where are we starting today on these challenges?
So the first one up today, the first topic is something we call discovery, and that's number 4 on our list. So discovery relates to the next phase to get into this of collaboration, and that's around integrating your telephony into your collaboration solution so that people can really work from anywhere. So getting a good understanding of what's in use on your existing PBX system before you start is just super critical. And at the same time, these PBX systems, just by their very nature, they're very opaque. They typically require specialist technical staff to extract the data and analyze it. And then you've got to get that migrated across onto the new collaboration solution. So in this situation, we've got tooling here, Voss Migrate. It's got the capability to automatically pull and extract this data, and then some nice reports, so you can really see what's going on. If we can flip the first slide up, Tom, on this. This is an example. It's showing the inventory and the configuration on an existing Cisco system, so you can really see what's configured up on your current platform. So just pause and have a quick look at that for a moment. And then if we pop onto the next slide, what we've done here is provide a traffic light report showing where there are likely to be migration issues in moving to Microsoft Teams Phone. So you'll see, for example, on here, analog ports and non-SIP devices. Both these we know are problematic when you're transitioning up to the cloud and up to Microsoft Teams Phone. As part of the discovery, we often also workshop what the transition process will look like. Building out a plan, we run this over 2 half days. So if viewers are interested to find out more about that and what the agenda on those sessions looks like, they can contact us separately. That's discovery. In essence, they're really knowing your starting position and putting in place a robust foundation for moving to the cloud and collaboration and telephony. And that's on the list at number 4. So back to you, Tom.
Okay, so we've started at the start, which makes perfect sense. Jamie, where are we going next?
Yeah, so I think one of the biggest challenges is around cost. So as Tim was saying, I guess businesses are looking to provide best-in-class systems, not only on a overall company basis, but even from a department or division. Users, the employees are demanding that they have the right tools to be productive and be able to do their job. So Um, but this creates a real headache, mainly for IT departments and finance, because, you know, gone are the days where you go, hey, legacy platform, we're going to buy a whole bunch of licenses and we don't need to worry, we own those, all that sort of stuff. All of the SaaS subscription licensing, creates a real usage-based problem month on month or quarterly, annually budgeting, how are we going to, scale up or scale down? So they basically need to keep track of that and keep budgets under control, or at least be able to forecast up into boards and strategic initiatives. And so it's a real issue trying to collate all of that of what's being used, what's not being used. And so I guess you need a system that can do that, and it doesn't really mind whether or not you're using kind of legacy technology, or most organizations have these multi-vendor environments from a number of cloud providers. So being able to pull that back onto a user and give that information to IT to be able to manage that, but also be able to report and use some data, data analytics or business analytics on that from a finance to say, do you know what, actually, we're not using these licenses, so we can save a bit of money here, reinvest that in more strategic initiatives. So yeah, through VOS Insights and the VOS management platform, we're able to provide those business analytics across multi-vendor environments, whether or not that's collaboration, voice, UC, video conferencing, and pull that into single reports that, can be used for making business decisions and strategic cost reduction initiatives as well.
Yeah, I think that's definitely tough for businesses, isn't it? Balancing a tricky economic environment with investing in the tools they need as they're trying to kind of work out their hybrid working model. So it's definitely a great point. And let's move on to point 3. Tim, where we go next?
Where we go next, we're talking about streamlining and automation really here. So the challenge here on this particular topic is that traditionally organizations operate collaboration solutions through a combination of service desks and technology towers, often involving several manual steps and technical teams. And that's not really what is expected in the digital workplace. That's where consumers expect more immediate results that they can manage and initiate themselves. So for example, a regular new employee onboarding, being such a typical sort of request, and they want to see immediate results on that and what they want to trigger that themselves. So what we typically deploy here is a combination of self-service, automation, and suitable access controls just to keep everybody out of trouble. And as an example, on a recent Microsoft Teams transition, the request was presented as an intuitive workflow that could be selected by a local administrator versus the quite lengthy PowerShell scripts that the organization had been running and maintaining. So the net result was everybody was happy. The local administrator had the facility to manage these onboarding requests, at their fingertips. The central IT team was happy. They got a level of control, still retained control around that. And it worked out well for the user because everything was ready, as they came on board through the onboarding process. So that's one example of an organization really streamlining and automating sort of the regular day-to-day service requests, inside the digital workplace. So Tom, back to you. I think that takes us on to our next point for today.
Yeah, so we're on to the final point, and we haven't actually discussed user experience and productivity too much yet. So, Jamie, do you want to take us through pitfall number 1?
Yeah, sure. So, I mean, it is a bit of an extension about all the things we've talked about today, but mainly on the cost side of things. Obviously, it's great knowing the number of licenses you have, but I think the biggest thing that can kill any form of collaboration, transformation project is the end user or the employee, right? So, if employees aren't using the product, or they're not adopting it quick enough, or they don't understand how it's being, how they should be using it, that's where you create, horrible things like shadow IT, where they go off and do their own thing, or they revert back to what they know, old school phones on the desk sort of thing, or whatever it might be. And so it makes businesses' strategic initiatives really difficult to move away from those legacy technologies and adopt those things. So understanding why your users are having a poor experience and they feel like they can't be productive using the tools is super important. So having that end-to-end view of your collaboration environment from the end user desktop essentially right the way through to your kind of core, and being able to pinpoint that in near enough real time so that you can kind of get ahead of those issues, and so they don't become kind of bigger issues within, and you kind of say, oh, well, do you know what, our Teams rollout or our WebEx rollout is, do you know what, it's not really, I prefer using my mobile phone or whatever it might be. And I actually think whilst the pandemic was, kind of acceptable because of the rapid rollout of working from home, I think now that the sort of world is returning to whatever the new normal is around hybrid or whatever, whatever the working policies might be at a company, there is this now kind of rationalization that actually, even if you are working at home full time, part time, or not at all, you have to have that almost office grade setup. You have to have high cool quality, good internet, good headset setup, all those sorts of things, and giving IT teams and delivery teams the ability to track how their users are, using the platforms and experiencing their collaboration tools is really important. So, that's what we take away from just kind of counting data and licenses. It's blending, using VOS Insights and the VOS Management Suite to actually really understand how tools, multi-vendor or single vendor, are being used by the end customers or end users, and then being able to get ahead of and adjust those whilst they're going through those transformation projects to make sure they're successful, basically.
Okay, great. Thanks, Jamie. We've gone through the top 4 points now in a good amount of detail. So I think to finish, we should look at the original list. So we're going to flash that list back up again, but this time we've got them ranked in order. So Jamie, now we've got this in front of us, how would you reflect on the full list of challenges?
So, I mean, obviously, as you can see, there are a number of challenges beyond the ones we've talked about there. I mean, the issues around those is around solving different problems within the transformation journey. And I think looking at this is generally our experience and feedback from our customers and our projects, and they tend to be repeatable. And I think the 4 ones that we've talked about around user experience, cost management, and just generally giving businesses, their internal teams, the ability to manage, effectively and automate as much as possible is kind of key. So I think with our tool set, around discovery, migration, the automation and management side of things, enabling users to have that instant gratification of self-service, and then providing the data and insights across all of that end to end, whatever part of the journey those businesses are on, is really important. And that's, it kind of hasn't changed a huge amount, but just the different tools and technologies have, and we have the full suite to be able to support that, really. So I guess anyone watching this, if you recognize a challenge that we've talked about, feel free to reach out to us, and we're always happy to have an in-depth conversation about how we can help.
Okay, great. And I'm afraid that's all we've got time for, but I think it's been a really insightful session and quite fun working through those challenges. So thank you both for joining us.
Thanks very much, Tom.
And thank you everyone for watching. If you enjoyed this session, please give us a like and a share on social media, and we'll see you next time.